Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today we're standing out here at the hay shed because we have been needing to put sides on this thing for a long time. And we actually did do one side of it back whenever we first built the shed, or shortly after we built the shed. And I had some help here. My brother actually was able to be here and he helped me lift these 20-foot long pieces of sheet metal up to the top of our shed in order to put our walls on. But that was really difficult. Me and him had a hard time doing that. So today I'm gonna try something a little bit new. The corner posts on this shed are, only like 3.5, 4-inch posts. So I think I'm gonna be able to raise it up there a little bit at a time and just kind of take a little more time to do it, as opposed to just trying to muscle it up there. But I'm gonna clamp those pieces of sheet metal to the post with just, regular like bar clamps. And I'm gonna raise it up on one end a little bit and then clamp it and then go to the other end and raise it up a little bit. And I think between me and Tamara both, I think we can get these things put on there by ourselves. So this wouldn't be too bad if the shed was like our old shed. And you can see the old shed over here is much closer to the ground because the posts on it were only 7 feet tall. So up to that top piece of side metal, it's only 7 feet. But on this one, it's actually 10 feet up to that point. And you have to stand on ladders to try to be able to reach that up there. And then you have to stand on the top of a tall ladder. And you can see back here in the back, this 6-foot ladder is nowhere near, getting up there to that height. So let's jump into it. Let's see if this works. After I get the sides done, I have a plan to cover the back, which, as you can see, the back wall back there, we made out of pallets, but we did not cover it with anything. And I don't want to go through the expense of putting sheet metal on it right now. So we have another solution for that, so follow along and I'll show you what that is here in a little bit. So hopefully this plan works and we can get this raised up a little bit at a time. And I'm actually a little bit too far down that way, and hopefully I can shift it as I'm moving it and kind of just keep working it down and keeping it flush with the end of the post here. But it's holding the weight good, so hopefully this will work out okay for us. So I got the first piece up there and I walked it, pretty much from end to end until I got it up there to the top. I had a little trouble right at the very top because my clamps actually were touching the braces up there in that top corner, and I couldn't quite get my clamp as high as I needed it to. Also, I scratched up the outside of the paint just a little bit. I knew to put pads on that to protect the paint, but I just got into the job and wasn't really thinking about it. So I need to take some touch-up paint and just kind of touch those little scratches and stuff up to make sure we don't get any rust going on with the metal. So I've got this piece secured. This one was the hardest. It was the highest up. So the next ones, you can see, I can pretty well reach that one, but I'm still gonna walk it up there the same and just use those clamps to kind of hold everything in place. I didn't get some of the footage because Tamar's a little bit camera shy. So when she's out here helping me hold things and all that, she don't really want to be on the camera right now. So hopefully we'll break her of that before too long. So I didn't get too much footage of actually what I was doing right there at the very top, but that's pretty much the way it worked. I just worked it up there and got it underneath the lip of the existing metal and then started putting some screws in to kind of hold it in place. It worked out pretty good. So it's time to get a second piece and go ahead and get that one on there, and the next two actually should be quite a bit faster and quite a bit easier. So I'm gonna have to end up cutting off a little bit here on this one. I've got it flush with the front, which is the side that I'll have to worry about putting a piece of trim on or whatever. And I may not even trim the back side of this thing at all as far as putting my corner pieces on it. you don't really see it. You know, this is facing the back of the property, and anybody, like the drive and everything's on the other side. So anybody notice my mistake that I made? I'm not going to correct the mistake. I'm going to leave it the way it is, because I don't think that it's going to really make a big difference. Plus, it's on the side of the shed. It's in between the buildings, so it's going to be kind of hidden. So I don't think anybody will notice it, and I don't think it's really going to have too much of an effect on the functionality. Leave in the comments below if you caught the mistake that I just made. There it is. We've got our sides installed. And now we've just got to get our back covered up, which I don't think I'm going to cover it all the way up to the top of the gables. I think I'm going to leave that opening right where it's at and just cover that wall itself down. And that way air and stuff can kind of flow through the top of this shed. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. Maybe some of y'all can leave that in the comments also. I want to block the majority of the rain, but I also want to have some circulation in here. But then is that going to be bad for high winds and that kind of stuff? Is the wind going to come in there and try to pick the shed up? So maybe some of y'all can leave comments and let me know what the best thing to do is there. So we got the sides of the shed finished up, and now we're to the back. And what I'm standing here at is a vinyl tarp. And I got this from Billboard vinyl. So it's a reused or recycled billboard sign. So this is a fair amount heavier vinyl than what you normally get in a, you know, like a tarp that you buy at a hardware store. This you can buy in a very large size. This one actually is 12 feet tall by 40 feet long. So I should be able to cover my entire wall and, you know, and just have one tarp up there. Plus it's a thicker material than your standard tarps are. Now, according to Billboard Vinyl's website, this tarp should last at least 2 years. Hopefully it'll last longer than that. But it is a temporary solution for us anyways, because eventually we probably will put metal back here on the back of the shed. But this was a inexpensive way to go ahead and get this covered up and keep the rain from blowing in on our hay. I believe this tarp, including shipping, was right around $75. And if this idea actually works, then it'll be well worth that $75. So what I'm going to do is use these nails with these caps on them that should kind of distribute the pressure of the nail so it's not hanging on the nail. But I'm going to put it up there kind of like sheeting, and you know, I have enough nails in it to distribute the load evenly, plus the caps on there should keep it from being pulling on the nails. So I'm going to try it. If it don't work and we can't do this, then I'm out 75 bucks, but I'll probably be able to find a different way to fasten it. But this is just the thing that keeps coming up and of how I'm going to do it. I don't want to tie it on and have it hanging there. I've tried that with tarps before and they blow in the wind and rip loose and all that. So I'm hoping that this will secure it enough, and the tarp being heavy duty enough that it will stay secured and stay on our shed. So that's coming along pretty good. And if these nails, I think these are going to hold pretty good. So when I had that folded over the top of the wall, I just tacked in those all the way across the top. And that was actually holding that up there just fine. The wind's blowing quite a bit today, which that actually, you know, it's letting air through it and where it's loose down here on the bottom. So I don't know how well it's going to hold once I fasten it and make it secure. But I'm going to run a whole bunch of those on this entire tarp, and I think it's going to hold and have enough pressure to where that it won't rip through, and it should hold it pretty good, at least until the tarp starts degrading and starts getting brittle. Then it should hold it, and hopefully that'll last us a couple years, and then maybe we can afford to go ahead and put the metal and everything on the back of the shed then. So where this is a Billboard vinyl, I decided to put the advertisement on the outside because the vinyl itself is black. And I was thinking that if I put the black facing out and the sunshine shining on that it would get really hot. And then of course we store hay in there, so I don't want to make it any hotter than necessary. So I thought the green facing out would definitely be cooler than having that black tarp. Hopefully my thinking is right on that, and hopefully this thing holds up and does good for us. So now I've got a whole bunch of nails to put in there to get this thing secured. I actually already had these nails from a previous job when they were working on our house when we originally moved in here. So that part of it's not costing me anything extra right now, because I had a whole like 2-gallon bucket full of those things. So I should have plenty to be able to finish this job out and not have any expense in it except for just the vinyl itself, which was, like I say, about 75 bucks with shipping. So thanks for going along with us today. If you enjoyed today's video, appreciate you hitting that thumbs up button. It really goes a long way in helping out the channel. I'm gonna jump back in here and keep nailing and get this thing fastened up good, and we'll see you on the next one.